What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Listography. Jason, Joe, and Krams are here. Got a little extra video coming at you. New series. Probably not going to be a regular series, but whenever we feel compelled, we've got a new show called Overrated. Anytime that we kind of unanimously feel that something is overrated, we'll come on here and tell you about why we think it is so. So we're kicking this off with Fair Warning by Van Halen, a record that you guys had very low on your listography. Do you remember where? 10?
I think I had mine even lower, maybe 11.
Now, I didn't have it that low. I had it at 4, which I think is reasonable. And I think if you ask any kind of Joe Blow walking down the street what the best Van Halen record is, I think most people will tell you either the debut or 1984. But there seems to be this feeling that true or real Van Halen fans know that the best Van Halen record is Fair Warning. And we saw this sentiment a lot in the comments of that video when we did the listography. Comment after comment of disgust with the low placement of our list, but also just consistence, like number one. So I'm going to start here by reading a few of the comments. Fair Warning, number 1, by far their best for me, experimental, funky, and most consistently great and intense tune for tune. Dirty Movies, Hear About It Later, and Mean Streets are 3 of their best. I love the almost new wave approach of the final closing tracks. We've got our friend Jesus, who says, I guess I must be in the minority, but my favorite song of Van Halen is Mean Street from also my favorite album, Fair Warning. Not a massive fan, really, because I think they are not as great as others seem to believe. Their debut is brilliant, but I prefer Fair Warning. Fair Warning at 10. This is the definitive Van Halen album. Eddie took control and built a total FN masterpiece. These D-bags probably listened to Linda Ronstadt and Joan Baez.
Well, I mean, Linda did just win my Song of the Year, so this D-bag is for sure.
Yeah, it couldn't have been better timing on that. But what do you think? Do you think there's any substance to these claims that it is the best Van Halen record? Obviously, we don't think so. It's a show called Overrated. But for me, the big stumbling block that I think just makes it impossible for it to be the best is that it's short. It's like 31 minutes, and the last 2 songs are essentially throwaways. They're like 2-minute long. That takes you down to like 26 minutes. At most, it's like an EP. And then the other thing I would say is that it has some great guitar playing, some of Eddie's best guitar playing, without a doubt. But that alone does not make a great record. I think as a listening experience, it just does not match those other masterpieces.
Right. I mean, that's the thing. And I mean, you get the example of the last comment you just read. This is the guy's album. It's the heavy, nasty Eddie is just doing like really dirty, grimy guitar work, and that part of it is awesome. So, you know, it's great music to lift weights to, for sure. It's awesome. Like, so that's the crowd, I think, that's really behind this Fair Warning movement. It's on Esquire's list of 70 albums men must own or whatever. So that's where it's coming from. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't love this album, but I like it. I also got to keep in mind, we did this video back before we really had our swing and our mojo as, you know, members of this channel. It was Joe's first one. We weren't doing star ratings. So especially with that video, you know, maybe the Aerosmith one, Genesis, really hard to get a sense of how we really feel about the band. So we were so narrow-minded on just like, let's find criticisms for everything. But I mean, I give this album 3 stars. I think it's a good album for sure. You know, I think only the one they did in 2012 is the only one that's not good. So, I mean, I like Van Halen a good bit. But for me, the problem is, other than Mean Street, Sinner Swing, and Unchained, none of these songs are memorable to me. I do love that, you know, that aggressive, nasty, mean, just, Eddie riffing. Like, I like the feel of this album, but Van Halen, for being a hard rock band, are really good songwriters. They write great parts, great hooks, great melodies, and they're not really on this album. So whether you think we lean too much towards Hagar or their pop stuff, they just have better songs everywhere else in the catalog. That's just simply how the reason.
Yeah, I think what holds us back for me is a song like Unchained, which is so good and like really incredibly catchy for how hard it is. Like that riff, really memorable. The vocals are super memorable. The whole package, just an amazing song. Nothing else even comes close on that album for me. I don't particularly like any other song that much. I think everything else is just moderate compared to the rest of their catalog. And that's another reason I never took to this album, because you have the debut, which is like 13 tracks of just pure raw guitar awesomeness, great singing. All the songs are catchy and memorable. I can't remember a thing about this album except for Unchained. And even if you don't like, the Hagar years, which I do, I like the kind of pop, synth heavy Van Halen. I just think there's too much on Van Halen 1, 2, even Women and Children First, and even the non-covers of Diver Down I like a lot more than anything on here. They have more nuance. They're more interesting. This one has a nice sound to it, but I don't even particularly think Eddie's playing is all that interesting on this. It's a lot of sort of, noise without like the form and without sort of the fireworks that I like on Van Halen 1 and 2, where he was really sort of just pushing the envelope.
Yeah, I mean, Diver Down has like a couple gems, like secrets and stuff like that. So the one comment you made about how this album was kind of experimental and new wave and funky, I don't really see that, to be honest. Like, I think that goes against it's just pure unadulterated Eddie hard rocking, which is how I see the album. And if you like that stuff when they kind of go that direction, with the more experimental creative stuff, I don't think it's on Fair Warning, and it's on Diver Down. So
Oh, I think that is specifically just talking about the last two tracks where it's just like Eddie messing around with a synthesizer. But yeah, to Joe's point, I think if you were to take these tracks and put them in a bunch with the tracks from Van Halen 1, the only track from Fair Warning that I think could maybe bump a track from Van Halen 1, if you were to like include them, pretend it was all the same session and you're going to pick the tracks, the only track from Fair Warning that might make it is Unchained.
I think Mean Streets could. I like Mean Street a lot, but yeah, I mean, other than that, I don't understand what all the hoopla is about. It's a good album, but I mean, if you're a real Van Halen fan and you're one of the ones that just like dismiss everything Hagar, it's like, okay, well, now you've got 6 albums to choose from. So, which, I mean, I like some of the Hagar stuff too. And I think Eddie's guitar work on Balance is as good as this, if not better at times.
Let's not get nuts, Ryan.
Balance is going to be the pilot episode of our next series called Underrated.
I have a little look into the future when we do our favorite albums of all time. Right now, I have 1984 and Van Halen 1 as perfect 10s. I have 10 albums that I think are perfect 10s. So maybe it's just the fact that I hold those two on such a high pedestal that maybe I don't like the rest of Van Halen as much, or it comes off as maybe I don't like it as much. But it's just comparatively speaking, like putting Mean Streets or putting Fair Warning ahead of those two is just absolutely mind-boggling to me. Like, it just doesn't even compute.
Especially because Van Halen 1 exists. Like, everyone that's being like, they reached their peak on Fair Warning. It's like, no, they didn't. Like, they had a much fuller, more realized sound on Van Halen 1, and it's still like throbbing and fierce and nasty and heavy. Like, it's there's a little more of that like David Lee Roth charm with like the singing and the backing vocals on Van Halen 1, but that's also what you want on Van Halen 1 or what you want out of Van Halen. So yeah, that argument I don't get. I mean, it is awesome how like fierce and nasty and dark and just, it is, but the songs just aren't there compared to their other songs.
Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't hear it. I think it's good, but you could maybe convince me that it should be number 3, but there's no way that it's better than 1984 or the debut. There you go. We think it's overrated. Let us know if you agree with us or if you'd like to argue further your position down in the comments. You can do so. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe to the channel. If you are not yet subscribed, hit the bell for notifications. Check the description for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and our website. And if you're interested, you can head over to the community tab on our YouTube channel. We've got a poll up there. I think you might have to scroll a little. It's probably like the second post. And we are battling for control of the month of January. We've each selected 4 bands, and whoever wins will get the full schedule January of 2022. So go vote. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.